62% is how much drug abuse in middle schoolers has risen. 60% is how many high school juniors and seniors have abused alcohol. 50% is how much teenage drug overdose rates have increased since 1999. 1 in 25 teenagers are clinically diagnosed with an abuse disorder. Adolescent substance abuse is not a monster that only exists in the news or on the screens of our phones. It is a horror that is infecting the fabric of our society. It is killing us. Currently, drug overdose is a leading cause of death for teenagers. Let's take a few steps back. What is addiction? As defined by Mayo Clinic, it's a disease that affects a person's brain and behavior and leads to an inability to control the use of a legal or illegal drug or medicine. Dr. Glenn Teeter, expert in therapy used to treat adolescent addiction, gives more information on the issue.
If somebody is suffering and they discover that there's a way that they can very immediately feel better, even if it's temporary, and even if that comes with some pretty significant consequences, the appeal for that and kind of eventually the need for that can be quite strong.
We have learned what addiction is and that it is significantly growing. But what holds society back from solving it? The simple answer is stigma.
When people are stigmatized for their struggles, that only ends up being a barrier to them getting the help that they need. It's a barrier to them finding support in the people that are already there around them, or finding new communities of support. And then also for the person themselves to feel, enough worth even to essentially be helped by others.
Many misconceptions and much stigma originate from various historical attempts to condemn reckless substance abuse. The most prominent of these efforts was the Just Say No movement, which was started by Lady Nancy Reagan during the Reagan administration. The movement's main goal was to educate teens about the dangers of drug use and encourage them to refuse drugs at all costs. However, the main message of the Just Say No movement asserted that all people who so as much hesitated to refuse drugs were unworthy of all sympathy. However, the movement acknowledged an aspect of substance abuse that was key: the power of public figures. For example, the LA Lakers' Just Say No to Drugs rap. This power is of immense concern. Mainstream lyricists, as well as entertainment companies, repeatedly portray drug abuse as a recreational, pleasure-filled activity. Pop culture icons are often seen using drugs and alcohol in music videos, on TV, and in movies. Teenagers then seek to replicate the moments of ecstasy presented to them, leaving them clueless and at the mercy of the gruesome hidden repercussions brought with such substances. This phenomenon, as well as society's persistent stigma, can be observed everywhere around us. We spoke to a 17-year-old recovered addict who persevered through years in and out of rehab and therapy to talk about their experience with addiction.
The first time I drank was in 7th or 8th grade. My friends and I watched Mean Girls and we saw the Halloween party scene. And we were like, let's be just like them. So cool, I can tell people I drink now, whatever. But it really didn't become a problem until freshman year of high school. Recovery was really hard. I think the hardest part was not actually stopping using drugs. The hardest thing for me definitely was overcoming this idea of myself. When I was diagnosed, I thought of myself in this pitiful light, and I hated myself. I was disgusted with myself. My parents were disappointed in me, and my friends didn't even know who I was anymore. Everyone looked at me like I was helpless, and that, my life was at the mercy of a bottle. Once I was able to kind of reclaim this idea of myself and think about myself in this new light, that's when I really started my recovery journey.
As more people are generalized and demonized by such harmful views, less and less people feel motivated to seek help. All odds are against us. However, even if the past was damaging, the future does not have to be. We should all learn to adopt an accepting, constructive outlook on addiction instead of working to hurt those who suffer.
Parents, you must talk to your children so they do not fall prey to media and marketing.
Say something and save a life.